Hey, I'm Makaila,
And I'm Nick.
and this is a completely legitimate movie podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of a completely legitimate movie podcast. I am Nick.
And I'm Makaila.
We are going to be reviewing one of your favorite musicals of all time, Rent. I see for listeners only, she's got her poster right behind her.
I sure do, and I almost contemplated bringing my coffee mug too. It's like it changes colors with the heat, but then I realized it wouldn't really serve a purpose other than being, haha, look at this thing I have. So I just kept it in the cupboard.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, let's jump right in. Why don't you give us the research?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Okay, so Rent is the film adaptation of the musical Jonathan Larson's Rent, in which a group of bohemians try to survive and thrive in New York amongst the struggles of poverty and the AIDS epidemic. It was released November 25th, 2005, and is directed by Chris Columbus, who also directed the first two Home Alone movies, Mrs. Doubtfire, and the first two Harry Potter films. It stars Anthony Rapp as Mark, Adam Pascal as Roger, Rosario Dawson as Mimi, Jesse L. Martin as Collins, Wilson Germain Heredia as Angel, Tay Diggs as Benny or Benjamin, Idina Menzel as Maureen, and Tracy Toms as Joanne. It was nominated for a number of Critics' Choice Awards, but it was also nominated for two stinkers as well. Rosario Dawson won an Alma for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Motion Picture as well. I took down just a little bit of trivia that I got just from general knowledge, but also something about me. I love watching film commentaries. So I have watched this movie with the commentary at least 30 times, but just to make sure that I had my knowledge down pat, I watched it with the commentary again. Tracy Toms, who plays Joanne in the movie, actually had auditioned multiple times for the stage production and never gotten the role. So now it's really kind of cool that she is immortalized in the film. Fans of the musical are often torn about whether or not they like the film adaptation. Most of the criticism stems from songs and scenes being cut out. I really recommend, if you want to watch this movie, to try to see if maybe it's at your local library rather than streaming it. The deleted scenes do include some of the things that I think it got criticism for. And I think that if you can get the 2-disc DVD, definitely that's the way to watch it rather than seeing if it's streaming somewhere. They really wanted this movie to have a PG-13 rating to get as many people into it as possible. So obviously there are songs that they couldn't do. We can't really have a on-screen orgy fever dream and still have a PG rating. So yeah, and then another little thing I thought was kind of cool was Adam Pascal, who plays Roger, was very sick for one of the scenes that they filmed, and he just knocked it out of the park. So I always think that it's really cool when actors are like, yeah, I'm sick, but I'm still gonna give this scene my all because it's important to me. I don't know. So yeah, that's what I have for the research this week.
And you can tell normally how when we go into a movie for these episodes, we watch it once, we take our notes, we record usually the next day so it's fresh in our heads. Michaela put on the documentary about how Rent was made, about the Jonathan Larson who created the musical. We watched the movie. Then we watched it again with the commentary, and you made me watch all the deleted scenes. Like, no, you're getting the full experience.
Really just wanted you to have everything because I was like, well, maybe he'll say, well, this doesn't really make any sense. And I'm like, that's in a deleted scene. Maybe that'll change your rating.
You sure did. All right, let's dive in. I feel like you're gonna do most of the recap just because you're so passionate about this movie, but
I might, but honestly, I feel like a lot of the times I just wrote down song lyrics. So you might have to actually provide the
okay.
plot.
Well, my so we get the opening title cards, the production studios, and we are immediately greeted with a song about the most inefficient way to keep track of a year in minutes.
No, that's wrong. You're wrong. We're already off
I'm
to a bad
wrong?
start. It's false
Okay.
because
You tell
we
me.
went on a cruise and we had to do trivia, and you're sitting here saying, "Well, that's an inefficient way to keep time." But what was the question?
How many minutes were in a
And who
year?
knew that?
Everyone who'd seen
Yeah,
Rent. You were not the only person who
everyone
yelled it
who's
out.
seen Rent, they all said, "I know this one." And what did they do? They started singing this song. So
And I was trapped on a boat with them.
just saying. But yeah, so this song isn't actually how the stage production begins. This is actually how Act 2 starts. But I didn't mind it. I know some people who are diehard Rent fans really this it had already left a bad taste in their mouth. But Tracy Toms, her vocal range is incredible. And so I just loved it and because of her. But I just think it also gives us an immediate link to the characters that we might not have necessarily gotten if it had just opened with Mark.
Well, they're all standing on a stage, the main cast singing, I guess the song's called Seasons of Love, which gives you a lot of horrible ways to measure a year in love. You can't measure time in love. That's not how it works. In cups of coffee. All right, that makes more sense, I guess. But yeah, so you get Seasons of Love with the cast singing it on stage. So I guess yeah, that does introduce you to the characters. Go on. After Seasons of Love, how do we open?
So they open with the date, which is just telling you like what day it is. Mark saying, "From here on out, I shoot without a script." And then they go into the first opener of Rent, Christmas Eve, and yes, as I
Jesus
said,
Christ.
Mark
Okay.
says he's going to shoot without a script.
The date's important though. It's Christmas Eve, 1989.
Yes. And so Mark sings, "How do you document real life when real life's getting more like fiction each day?" And this is supposed to be from the time of the height of the AIDS epidemic. However, I feel like this could easily be 2025. You know what I mean?
I suppose
We
so.
currently, right? Would we have ever expected that our president it behaves in such a way. We're literally getting ready to go to war with the Middle East again, it seems like, hopefully not.
Yeah.
It's just like there's we're all trying to like survive and pay our bills and enjoy life and it's just nothing ever seems to stop. It's like you can't make this shit up.
Yeah, no, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I see what you mean. It's the line is relevant to today.
Yeah. So we get them introducing Roger. They're burning things in their flat because their heat is also out, their power is out.
Well, I just had we're introduced to Roger playing an electric guitar and the power goes out and he sings about the power going out and how it's freezing outside, so he can't feel his feet. And Mark comes in and they're desperately trying to start a fire with anything they have, posters, Mark's screenplays, stuff like that.
Yeah. So they continue with the number, and then we're introduced to Jesse L. Martin as Collins, and Mark throws him down the keys and he drops them. I love that man's voice, by the way.
Collins?
Yes. Anything he sings, I could just listen to. It's so good.
Yeah, it's a very nice baritone voice.
Yes.
My note here is that Mark and Roger are really horrible friends because Collins drops the key and he gets jumped immediately, almost immediately. In the time that he dropped the key, Mark has gone inside and it takes them about half an hour before they realize, oh shit, Collins never came up. Where'd he go? He's dying. He's bleeding out in an alley because he got the shit kicked
I
out
was
of him.
say, to be fair though, he didn't see Collins drop the keys. He threw them down and was like, "All right, I gotta go make sure we have heat. It's
Yeah.
fucking freezing out here. I'm gonna try and shelter from the weather." I don't think he was like expecting that. Just, not to be like a Mark apologize. Oh my god.
Apologist. I'm
Thank
not an
you.
apologist.
Thank you. That word was kicking my ass. Okay. So, uh we also get the lyric, "When they act tough, you call their bluff." It's just like, how can you not love a rock anthem that just likes it to the man? And I know you do. You hate you hate everything about this, but I hear this song and I just get so pumped. I just want to topple capitalism.
Well, I enjoy a good discussion of toppling capitalism every day. Um but throughout the whole song, the whole the whole building, the whole block is in agreement. They don't want to pay rent. The rent's unfair. Everyone's throwing their burning eviction notices out the window because, fuck landlords. But essentially, everyone's just kind of squatting.
Not squatting. Not yet. They haven't been
Yeah,
evicted.
okay. Yeah, anyway, song ends, and we're introduced to this corrupt landlord who is their old friend, Benny. We get narration about who Benny is, but it's Mark narrating through his camera for his documentary. He tells us how Benny married money. He married the daughter of the landlord. So now he's kind of just the attack dog for the landlord.
Essentially, yeah. And there's this whole conversation because Benny, when he was their roommate, basically said, "Hey, because I'm marrying the daughter of the landlord, you're going to be good. You won't have to pay rent." Right? So then he comes back a year later and he's like, "Yeah, well, I didn't actually mean that. You do have to pay rent and you're going to have to keep paying rent." Like,
This is why you get these things in writing.
yeah, and it's really shitty because how you gonna do your friends like that? So he basically says, get Maureen, who is Mark's ex-girlfriend,
Yes.
to cancel her act, and we'll call it square.
Yeah, Benny's whole motivation is there is a place called Tent City. It's basically where the homeless people live under an overpass, it looks like. They want to kick all the homeless people out. He wants to put in something called a cyber
Yeah, he
studio,
has a whole
whatever
song
whatever that
about
means.
gentrifying the neighborhood.
Yeah. They're going to kick the homeless out, make something called a cyber studio, which will allow them all to make their art. Roger being a musician, Mark being a documentary maker, I guess, and Benny who does something that you would do at a studio. Look, we're going to be made, and Roger just gives us, "You changed, man." They make fun of Mark because Maureen, his ex girlfriend, left him for a woman and Maureen is protesting all of this gentrification. Yeah, I don't know. Benny is introduced as a villain and then continues to do nice things for the cast.
Okay.
He does.
I think that that's very like rose-colored view.
Uh,
Anyway,
so that's Benny's proposition is get Maureen to call off the protest. You can live here rent free forever. And I gotta tell you, their apartment's a shithole. The skylight's broken. They have to have a tarp up so that they don't get rained on. So it's like, yes, this is the prize.
but they're struggling artists. They can't
Yeah.
afford to live anywhere else.
I know. And I'll have more to say about that later. We're introduced to Angel, who is busking in the street playing drums on a bucket,
Yes.
and they're given a quarter. They say Merry Christmas. And Angel's the first person to notice that Collins is dying and has been dying this whole time
Yeah.
in the street.
Here's Collins in the alley. Well, he doesn't know that it's Collins, but he just hears something from the alley, and he's like, "That sounds weird. I'm gonna go investigate."
Right. Good
So,
Samaritan.
yes. So he finds Collins. He says like, "Hey, let's go get you cleaned up." Tells Collins that he's going to a life support meeting to attend for people with AIDS like him, and Collins says, "Me too." And that's just it's such a sweet, I think, beginning of their dynamic to not have this big complicated conversation of like, "I have AIDS."
Yeah.
It's, I'm going to life support for people like AIDS, and Colin's just like, "Me too," and that they just go together, like, they just walk off together.
Yeah.
Mark has also now finally noticed that Collins is not there. He's
Yeah,
like
he went downstairs and had a whole conversation with Benny, and at no point when he was on the street is he like, "Well, fuck, where'd Collins go?" He went downstairs and back up, and only then is horrible friend.
he's like, "I'm gonna go look for Collins, I thought we could go get food," which Roger is like, "Zoom in on my empty wallet."
Right. And Roger for throughout the first, I don't know, maybe half hour of this movie, just a fucking sad sack. Fucking sad sack. He wants to sit with his acoustic and mope. And Mark, like a good
It's not a
friend to
phase.
Roger, I guess. It's not a phase. He's a good friend to Roger, apparently. He tells Roger to take his AIDS medication. His AIDS.
Yeah. Which is a nod that Roger also has AIDS. So we get Roger on the rooftop singing Glory, and I really love this song and how it's shot. He's singing about his basically his life leading up to meeting his girlfriend that died, getting addicted to drugs, getting diagnosed with AIDS. It's a beautifully done scene. What they don't show is that his girlfriend died not from her AIDS diagnosis, but from slitting her wrists. They don't show that, and I think Chris Columbus said that that was intentional because he thought with the central message being that all of these people were like living with AIDS, that that would still speak to the audience, but a surprising amount of people were really upset that they did not show that April cut her wrists, which is like, just go see the stage production. I don't know what to tell you. The movie does not have to be the all-encompassing experience of Rent, and it nor should it be. So, jot that down.
Okay. Well, so he's moping about his life. It's called Glory because we could just lore. They just, put a G and a Y at the end. No, not funny. Anyway,
No, you're
Rosario
fine.
Dawson is waiting for him on the stairs, like, hey, what the fuck are you shouting about? People are trying to sleep.
No, she's not. She's got a coy look on her face. Mimi is like, "Oh, man, that's Roger. I'm gonna go talk to him."
She, yeah, Rosario Dawson, her character is named Mimi. Basically, a whole song where she just throws herself at him crotch first.
First. They
At
have a
him
whole
both.
lyric about it.
This is just basically like, hey, let's have coitus as a song.
No, no, she needs her candle lit,
Mm,
and Roger is the only person in the building up to the
mhm.
task.
I stand by my statement. Roger proceeds to fumble Rosario Dawson.
So he lights her candle, she blows it out, she comes back, she drops her lash of drugs, she has to come back in to look for it. And such a petty thing because you've seen this movie and I know you didn't necessarily care for it as you reminded me every 10 minutes.
I did not. I
Like,
did not do that. She lies.
people had such a problem with them bringing in the original cast, and then, of course, we have, like, introduction of Rosario Dawson and Tracy Thoms, but we're so mad because none of these people looked like the age that the characters were supposed to be, but they're like, "Rosario Dawson doesn't look 19," and it's okay, but she doesn't look like she's in her, like, 30s or something. This isn't like okay, I loved you're so
I'm
mean.
just laughing. You're so worked
I
up.
loved your
You're
I loved
passionate.
your Evan Hansen, and people gave that movie such shit because they, again, brought in the original lead. For as much as that didn't bother me, I could get it. He did look a little bit older than a high schooler. It's not like, again, he didn't look like he was in his 40s, but the cast is supposed to be Mimi's supposed to be 19. The rest of the cast is supposed to be in their early 20s. Mimi looks like she might be 22.
Yeah, Rosario Dawson looks
Yeah,
young.
I think Idina Menzel is just now starting to show her age. None of these people look decrepit. They all
Right? They all
look
look like they could be mid to late
yeah,
20s at the
yeah, like,
oldest.
no one looked like they were pushing 30.
Yeah.
And also, Mimi is supposed to be playing a drug addict, and we find out later in the movie that she also has AIDS. So, like, expecting her to look like this fresh-faced baby is I feel so unreal. I rant for this.
Yeah. So Roger fumbles Rosario Dawson and everyone's like, "Aw, man." Um because you hate to see someone fumble. The next day is Christmas Day. The power's on. Yay. Mark's mom leaves a voicemail. A
Love
dad's
their
on the
voicemail, don't you love that? Like, the
yeah.
speak yeah.
Oh, their outgoing
Yes.
message. Yeah. We hear Mark's dad say it sucks that Maureen left him for a woman. She doesn't know what she's missing. It's like at least they're trying to talk him up. And they sound like normal, embarrassing parents who might smother you a bit. And Mark's like, "Oh, this is why I live here, so I don't have to go live with them." And it's like, they sound so terrible.
And he's in his 20s, but, like
They don't understand his art.
yeah. This also just, for reference, that voicemail is originally sang in the stage production, so they turned it into dialogue for this, and I think it still works really well because Mark and Roger are talking to each other. And yes, musicals involve singing, but I think it would have kind of taken it out if this voicemail had just randomly chirped in with like a song from mom and dad. Like,
Yeah. And we see that Mimi wrote an invitation on their window asking Roger to join her for Christmas brunch. Just us.
yeah.
So still looking for coitus.
Okay.
She is anyway. Collins finally shows up, so we can deduce that Mark did not find him on
I
Christmas
just
Eve.
gave up. He's like, he'll show up eventually.
He can only do so much, I guess. And he shows up with Stoli, which is not high end vodka. It's not. He got kicked out of the university he taught at. He's got another gig at NYU, which apparently doesn't pay because he's as broke as everyone else for the rest of the movie. So he's like, oh, because they're asking, well, how did you afford this? Did you get paid? Like, what happened? We are introduced to Angel, who rescued him earlier, in drag. And I have a note here. It's unclear in the movie whether Angel is a trans woman or a drag queen, and they use he and she pronouns interchangeably
Yeah.
throughout the production. So if I slip back and forth between a pronoun and I'm sorry, I'm just doing what the movie does.
Yeah. So Angel's gender is never actually defined. Obviously, transgender people have existed for forever, but that term was not commonly used in the 80s and 90s.
Right.
Um, so someone who is transgender would have been labeled a transvestite or a drag queen.
Right.
So I truly think that Angel is meant to be non-binary more than anything, so I don't think you're wrong to use those interchangeably. Yeah.
Sure. I just didn't want to offend anyone or think that I was, I want anyone to think I was purposely getting something wrong.
Yeah, and, like, also to this point too, Angel enters the room dressed in a Christmas dress, and it's just like, I love that Angel was just basically in the hall like a diva, just waiting for Collins to be like, "And now,
Yeah, Collins gave her
Angel."
so I know you're gonna give me a 5 minute justification. I hate this song. And Angel's like, other than this,
Mhm.
Angel is the nicest character in the movie. And they're named Angel, I think, on purpose because they're the nicest and kindest to all the other characters, and she's great, except for this song, and I hate this song, but you're gonna justify it. Why don't you explain and I'll just give my
Okay,
thoughts when you're done.
so I'm not gonna justify killing a dog. I'm not going to sit here and justify that.
Sure.
However, so Angel's song, "Today for You," is basically singing about how she got paid a crap ton of money
$1,000.
to play her music to essentially make this dog go crazy and jump off the balcony and die because it would not stop barking and the neighbor was getting sick of it and basically told Angel, "If you play and this dog finally shuts up, I I will give you $1,000." So Angel did, and the
Mhm.
dog died. So I am not gonna justify killing a dog. However, if somebody gives you $1,000, you do not look a gift horse in the mouth. Is that the expression?
That is the expression.
So, am I condoning it? No. Is it fucked up? Undoubtedly. Do I get it? A little, a little. $1,000 is a lot of money by today's standards. $1,000 in the 80s and 90s? Are you gonna say no to that money? Maybe, but you're gonna have a really hard time with it. So I do not fault Angel. This did not deter me from that character at all, but it does definitely give you that shock of like, what the fuck? Because it's a very upbeat song. It has a dance and everything. Angel kills it. But like, yes, they are singing about Angel killing a dog.
Yeah, the heroes of our story, our protagonists, who at this point, Collins hasn't done anything wrong. I love Collins, and I will never say anything bad about Collins. Roger and Mark, who are unemployed, look like they haven't showered in days, hear about this, and are like, haha, yeah, we get cheap booze. And at this point in the movie, I start thinking maybe Benny's not so bad. Ye Benny didn't kill a dog.
My
Anyway,
gosh.
Benny wants to Benny wants to, like, destroy the living places of homeless, though, so I don't know. At this point, I'm rooting for no one. No one has won me over yet. Maureen leaves a voicemail for Mark.
She's having issues with her sound for her performance, and she wants Mark to fix it. I guess it makes sense that he does all this stuff with film, so he probably has, at least by her standards, some knowledge about how to fix the equipment.
He says he used to be her production manager,
Yeah.
and now her lawyer girlfriend is, which is like, I don't know. Lawyers are smart, but they probably don't know sound.
Yeah, but it's that golden retriever energy of, like, "You're my partner, come do this with me. You might not know
Sure.
what you're doing, but I want you to, like, be next to me."
Sure, and Mark and in the deleted scenes, there's a whole storyline of Mark, being lonely. He doesn't have anyone. And they cut all of it, so Mark is kind of just a flat character for a lot of this. He's more of an observer.
Yeah,
He agrees, he's kind of reluctant. Angel and Collins are going to go to their life support meeting. They invite Roger and Mark. Roger would again rather sit at home and pout like a sad sack.
again, he's depressed.
He's a sad sack. Mopey guitar boy. He's a whole trope.
So anyway, Mark shows up, fix the equipment. Maureen failed to mention that Joanne was also there working on the equipment.
And Maureen wasn't even
Yeah,
there.
Maureen was supposed to be there to help, didn't show up. She kinda just threw a match and ran. So, Joanne basically says she hired an engineer, they're late, so Mark is going to help. They start kind of quipping about Maureen, and then begins the next musical number, Tango Maureen.
Yeah. We establish in the Tango Maureen, she's a hoe, dirty, dirty hoe. She has already cheated on Joanne. It's established. She's doing all the terrible things to Joanne that she used to do to Mark.
Except she's never called her Pookie.
Yeah.
That's what they
She
established.
does immediately.
Yes, but that was the thing, was Mark is saying, "Has she ever pouted her lips and called you Pookie?" Joanne's like, "No, never." And then they go on about basically all these things that Maureen does, which is essentially she drives you crazy, manipulates you, but you can't quit her. Like, you can't get enough of Maureen. So, kind of chaotic bisexual, and you said she's a hoe. I would
Mhm.
like to point out, as a fellow bisexual, she is not a hoe because she is bisexual.
Oh, she's a hoe
She's
because
a
she's a
hoe
cheater.
because she is sure. So, it has nothing to do with being bisexual. Yeah,
She's bad by stereotype.
she is, essentially.
Yeah.
I love
She'd kill the dog for free.
so anyway,
She would.
they're doing the tango together, literally doing the tango. Joanne is leading, and Mark hits his head. So then we kind of jump to this concussion dream scene where Maureen is dancing with other people, and
Men and women.
yes, and they go with the lyric of when you're dancing her dance, you don't stand a chance. You pretend to believe her because in the end you can't leave her. And then she kisses a man, she kisses a woman, and they're like her lipstick gets smeared in this scene, and I know it was a flub, but I think it works so well for her energy. I don't know. I am not here to defend Maureen. I don't like cheaters, but I liked the way that this scene was filmed.
Yeah, maybe it was smart to put this here because I'm still mad at Angel for killing a dog. But then they put this here. I'm like, oh, I got a bigger piece of shit to not
Right,
like.
you're like,
I don't think I start liking Maureen at any point in the movie. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
"Really?
Nope.
Okay, I guess I
Just
can get it."
diva, drama queen, world's about me. She gets a happy ending that she doesn't even deserve. Spoilers, I guess. Mark, the dream sequence finishes, and this, I guess, was kind of what Mark needed to get over her because he leaves kind of happy. She's not my problem anymore. This is great. Have fun.
And immediately, you mentioned earlier, Maureen calls and she calls Joanne Pookie. So Mark gives her shit over that, and now they're kind of bonded over their Maureen trauma.
Yeah, you love the awkward white guy, black lesbian solidarity.
So then we cut to Mark going to the life support meeting. He introduces himself, and it's very awkward and uncomfortable. His equipment is all clunky, and I want to say when I saw the stage production, this is true to the stage production, how he enters the life support meeting, but I wanna say it was worse on stage. You just imagine the most embarrassing thing you can do when you enter a quiet room, and that's kind of the energy of it. You're just
Sure.
like, "Who the fuck brought the cis het like, who are you?" So, yeah, and it's like he's kinda trying to do the right thing, not really knowing how.
Well, he wants to be supportive.
Yeah,
He asks everyone's
and
permission to film for his documentary.
right, and Mark's character is kind of like Jonathan Larson in a sense, the person who wrote Rent, because, like, he was watching his friends around him, and he wanted to tell their stories, and so this next song, "No Day But Today," is just so beautiful, and it speaks to the heart of people living with AIDS at the time, and I think it really gets to, like, the essence of what Rent is, other than, of course, the later song, but "No Day But
Sure.
Today" is perfect.
Yeah. It's pretty poignant. I didn't really have too many notes about it
No, it's just it's
because
so
I saw that you had summed it up pretty well.
yeah, and there's not much
This
to
is
say.
like this is like the one part of the movie I don't have any notes on because it doesn't bother me.
Wow. I was gonna say I can sing you guys the song.
It's
No, I'm
very
just kidding.
very beautiful.
Get
It is.
hit
It's
with
very
copyright.
beautiful, and everyone, all these people are struggling,
Yeah.
and it's very poignant. Anyway, we go to the Cat Scratch Club, which is where they know that's where Mimi dances.
Yes.
You you do your notes. I'll we can have that discussion about the thing I was bothered by with this. Well,
This song?
no,
Okay, but anyway,
without
anyway,
anyway.
anyway.
You go
So,
on.
yeah, Mimi is singing "Out Tonight," which is one of my favorite songs from this entire production. I have so many.
I was say you say that about every song.
This it I love Rent. I cannot stress that enough. No one should be surprised by my rating at the end. If you are, I have karaoke'd this before too, and it's just so good. Like, choreography, the way that it's, like, shot with her, like, being at the Cat Scratch Club and then she's walking through New York at night, like, it's just so beautiful. And they did change one of the lyrics, though, in the stage production. She says that they won't be back till Christmas Day, and in the movie, she says New Year's Day, and it kind of has always bothered me, but then you remember the movie starts on Christmas Eve, so you really can't say, "Oh, we won't be back till Christmas Day," because, like, essentially that was today.
Yeah, that would be unfair.
Yeah. So and truthfully, I listen to this song so much, my 9-year-old knows the words, and you know that, you've heard her singing it from the back seat.
To my dismay,
Anyway,
we get a line that bothers me. Rosario Dawson sings that no matter how far away from home she is, she's reminded of home when the Spanish babies cry.
no.
And
No.
my thought was like, well, how can you tell if a baby is Spanish just by its crying? And you got really mad at me for
You're
this.
gonna make me start pacing.
Please don't pace.
She is not specifically talking about the Spanish babies in the East Village of New York.
That's how
No,
it's
it is
portrayed.
not.
All right.
She's She can't sleep in the city of neon and chrome, feels too damn much like home when the Spanish babies cry, which would be home. Home, not New York. Home, where there are abundantly, apparently, loud crying Spanish babies that are reminiscent now that she is in New York. She is not specifically addressing the Spanish babies of New York in this song. Like,
That's how
no,
it's
it's
worded
not.
because it doesn't feel like home until a
No,
Spanish
but that's
baby cries.
what she
That's how
said.
the sentence
No,
is formed.
it's not. She
If
said
I wrote that in a story, someone would proofread it and say it's unclear. Rosario Dawson can hear a baby cry and be like, that baby's Spanish. It's like the blindfold challenge with the Coke and Pepsi, but she's listening to babies cry.
no. She said she can't sleep in the city of neon and chrome. She can't sleep in New York because it reminds her of home where there are Spanish babies. You are
Well, then she
Someone's
should
gonna
say
chime
where
in and be
instead of
like, "Nick's right. Nick's right. You didn't understand the material at all. You don't get Rent. Nick's a true fan."
I'm not. But if that's what she meant, she should say, "I'm reminded of home where the Spanish babies cry."
She said.
I said,
feels
"When?"
too damn much like home.
Anyway, she breaks into Roger and Mark's apartment. She ends her song by kissing Roger, and Roger proceeds to fumble Rosario Dawson for the second time in the movie, and you're just like, "Come
He
on, man."
transformed into a 14-year-old whose mother walked in on him in his private time. He's like, "Who do you think you are, barging in on me and my guitar?"
Which that might be the only song lyric I like. I don't know. Santa Fe's fine, I guess. That song's alright.
She's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you want, like, me to leave you alone, you and your guitar, so you can have, like, a moment?" No. Yeah, he kind of sings to himself, "I should tell you," and then argues against himself, like, "No." Mimi tells him, "The pain will ease if I can learn. There is no future, there is no past. I live this moment as my last," which at this point, Roger does not know that she has AIDS, and she does not know that Roger has AIDS, but it is kind of pointing to that because she doesn't know when her last moment is going to live a life with regret. No day but today is what she says.
Yeah. So she is down the stairs. She's out on the street singing up at him at a balcony. I think she's singing "No Day But Today" now at this point, right? Is
Yeah,
that
the
what she's
cast
saying?
comes behind her and they start singing No Day But Today. She's
Yeah,
still singing.
Mark and Collins are being bad friends because they're taking Mimi's
Oh my
side over Rogers. They
god.
don't even
No,
know
they're
her.
not. They're sick of seeing their friend struggle with this depression. They want him to come out of the house and live again. So they're like, "Yeah, man." They're not like, "Oh yeah, Mimi's right, you fucking loser." They're like, "Yeah, Mark. Or, yeah, come on, live again." But
Sure.
yeah, she sings, "I can't control my destiny. I trust my soul. My only goal is just to be." And again, these harmonies, I cannot. I am obsessed. You can just tell. This is why I didn't care that the original cast came back. I was like, they could have been fucking 50 and in wheelchairs, and I would have still been living for this because there's that shared experience. If you would have brought in a totally new cast, yeah, sure, they probably could have done great, but you would have never gotten this level, I think. I don't know. Maybe someone's gonna be like, "That's such a bitchy thing to say." Okay, I'm a bitch.
I was just saying, man, Mark and Collins should have their friends back.
Okay, well, you shouldn't support your friends when they're in the wrong just because they're your friends.
Well, yeah, that's fair.
You can still be their friend and hold them accountable and say, "Hey, man, I know you're going through some shit, but you can't survive like this. You gotta put on some real pants and get out of the house."
If you fumble Rosario Dawson one more time, I'm gonna smack you upside your head. Uh, anyway, it's the next day. Benny leaves him a voicemail that they have until dark to get Maureen to cancel her protest.
Yeah, he basically leaves them like an "or else" voicemail.
Yeah. Roger is still being mopey. That's 3 days in a row. Mark says, "Hey, Mamie's gonna be at the protest. You should go." And he kind of just mopes. We go back to the AIDS support group. They sing about their struggle,
Life
feeling forgotten.
support.
But yes, thank you. They feel forgotten by society. Um, and Roger joins the meeting with them and sings with Collins. And Collins puts an arm around him. He's like, "Ah, get in here. This is my boy. This is my
Like,
buddy."
they're so happy that he came out. It's a big
Yeah,
step for somebody when you're I can't imagine. I've been literally as low can be, and just having someone who's, "Hey, I'm so glad you made it out." I'm sure that makes a world of difference.
yeah. And Mark is filming, but he looks very proud of Roger too.
Right.
It's very. They show his face. He's very happy. They leave the meeting. Mark films some cops harassing a homeless woman, and this kind of gets them to stop. And the homeless woman, of course, turns on him. Like, "I didn't need your help. You got $1. Of course you don't, you stupid
Why is
artist."
she a lot lizard?
Because
She doesn't sound like that at all, by the way.
and it's that kind of movie, I guess. Angel notices how upsetting this was for Mark, that when trying to do the right thing, it kind of got turned around. So she starts the next song, which is Santa Fe, talking to Mark. She's trying to cheer Mark up, and
Yes.
which is, again, outside of the first song about how she just took sick, sadistic pleasure in the death of a dog. Angel's like the nicest person in the movie. She starts this song to cheer up Mark, and Collins and Angel sang about going to Santa Fe to open a restaurant. The first time we saw this movie, I thought they were just talking about going together, like the two of them. Upon watching it again, they talk about Roger naming things on the menu. And oh no, they do this with Mark and Roger. This is a group project, and that I actually kind of liked because oh they you know they're not just lost in each other now that they're in this relationship. They still want their friends to be happy too.
Right, and it's just this group of year olds who are dreaming of a life with their friends where they don't have to live with struggle. Most of them are living with AIDS. They're dreaming of a future that they honestly know will never come, but it's nice to dream.
The whole song takes place in a subway car. They kind of dance around on the poles for the
We
subway.
meet the ghost.
Um, yeah, Collins does some sweet flips.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. I would love, by the way, to hear you sing this. I think you would. I think you have the voice for it. I know you would need somebody in the background for all the other parts, but like, yeah, you could definitely sing this song.
Maybe one day. Mark and Roger, once they're off the subway, Mark kind of drags Roger to help with sound check for Maureen's protest, and Angel and Collins go into their next song, which in talking with you later, I greatly misunderstood because what's the song called?
Cover you.
I'll cover you. I thought the opening of the song where Angel offers Collins to move into her house, I took that literally.
Yeah,
And
he
I got
heard "Live in my house" and he was like, "Angel's asking Collins to move in."
Yeah, I just thought like, well, the relationship's moving really fast, but that's, whatever. And I kind of got confused because I was like, well, wait a minute. Angel was busking on the street for quarters. How does Angel have a house? Where does Angel live? We never find out where Angel lives, to be honest. And I was like, well, Collins works for NYU, and he just started. They probably haven't paid him yet. I was like, well, what do they gotta pay him if he works at NYU? He talks about being a teacher
Mhm.
because they talk about it during Santa Fe. So I looked up what do lecturers at NYU make in 1989, and the lowest teaching position was 28,000 a year, which is not great. Although in the 80s, it's probably it's better than it would be now. But she's saying like, "Oh, I'll cover you. Just pay me back with kisses." Is the point of the song, and I'm like, well, he makes 28,000 a year. He could get the utilities. He could help with groceries, right? Like he works. And again, I'm like, well, what does Angel do? How is she affording this? She's busking.
So the
But
point
you
of
told me it's all metaphorical.
you fucking love the, like, rabbit hole you went down trying to,
Accounting
like, understand the finances surrounding this song.
accounting brain took over. Tell me what the song's actually about, dear.
"Live in my house, I'll be your shelter." Angel is the house. It's wanting that person to protect you and love you. It builds so much character development for both Angel and Collins and their relationship, just for how much they love each other. They don't have a lot, but they have each other. And it says, "I think they meant it when they said you can't buy love. Now I know you can rent it. A new lease, you are my love." This is basically for them something they never thought that they would have. This is a once in a lifetime love that they have found in each other. Something they didn't think that they would ever have. And with a thousand sweet kisses, when your heart has expired, I'll cover you. This probably is one of my favorite songs, only because there's so much emotion in it. I saw a review from somebody that said that this was a nature documentary and it was boring, and excuse you, but you can fuck all the way off with that. I Please find me a better song within a musical
I thought you were about to say, "Find me so we can fight."
in a fucking parking lot.
Find me at the
And
Waffle House parking
then
lot.
I better see you there. No, just kidding,
Got very concerned.
people.
Find me at the Waffle House. We're gonna fucking fight. Well, I still want to know where Angel lives, but we don't ever find out.
What I was trying to say was find me a better moment within a musical that reaches this level of where they haven't said any dialogue. It's just a song that perfectly conveys everything about these two and how much they love each other. It's so fucking good.
If they can't, they can find you at Waffle House. for a fight.
No, you will not find me at Waffle House, I can promise you that.
What's wrong with waffle?
We have been together for how many years now? Almost 7.
7. Yeah.
When the fuck have you ever seen me at a Waffle House?
We just don't have any near us.
Right, so I'm gonna what? I'm gonna fucking drive to Ohio to meet some stranger at a
I'm
Waffle House?
sure there's one closer than
Okay,
Ohio.
no, you won't
Well, whatever.
anyway, no Waffle
Whatever.
Houses. We're not meeting at a Waffle House.
Roger is at the homeless tent city and apologizes to Mimi for how he acted last night, asks if she wants to go get food with the group after Maureen's protest, and she's down for it. And then we get Maureen's show.
Yes.
We are introduced to Maureen properly in the story. We only saw her in the tango fantasy sequence. I don't like Maureen. I'm just gonna let you recap this because it's the worst performance art I've ever seen.
Okay, so now and see, this is so there has to be a few things prefaced here because you hate on this scene a lot. I will
I
tell you,
sure
out
do.
of all of the criticism that this movie got, a lot of people did not like this scene. But I want to say one, you need to recognize that it is meant to be a little cringy. We are not supposed to be watching this top tier political performance. This is not Idina Menzel. This is Maureen. So imagine your friend is like, man, I'm gonna be giving this performance, and you're gonna go because they're your friend and you support them, right?
Right?
Does that necessarily mean that you want to be there? Does that mean that you're going to always understand the message? No, but that's your friend and you support your friend, right?
Sure.
So it is meant to kind of be bad performance art. It is not meant to be astounding. I will also say though, I know from the research that I did that Idina Menzel had to do this song. She did this song live. She had to record this scene multiple times. I'm talking like 7 times. So I think she at least deserves her flowers for this. Is it great? No. But I don't think it's necessarily meant to blow the audience away. I don't know.
Her effort is fine. I'm not saying that she does a bad job. I just don't understand any of it.
It is supposed to be her way of signifying how Benny and his quote unquote investors have basically put their boot on the necks of everyone living in Tent City.
Yeah. And the one thing I'll give the movie this because it's true. It was true in the 80s. It was true in 2005 when this was made, and it's true now. What starts as a peaceful protest is ruined by the cops inciting
Yeah,
violence,
people
which
start
is
mooing and the cops can't have that because how dare you
yeah.
fucking moo?
Maureen asks them to move at Benny and the cops.
Yes.
So the cops start beating people and, fuck the police, fuck capitalism.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Benny gets his father-in-law out of the way and Mark is filming everything, thankfully.
Mhm.
And everyone kind of runs away. I think at some point Collins has to pull Angel away from some cops because the cops have her.
Yeah.
Kind of comes to her rescue and everyone reconvenes at the restaurant and
At the
is just
cafe,
very
yeah.
at the cafe. They're all very happy that that everyone's okay.
Yeah, and I think
They're all pretty concerned about each other and that everyone was able to get away.
right. And that kind of speaks as well now to going to a protest. You always want to make sure that you're not going alone. Usually, I know some people do, but you more or
Yeah,
less try to go with a group. You try to make sure that you have a rendezvous point. Obviously, we have our phones now. They didn't have those cell phones back then. So, this was really the only way. It was, oh shit, so and so didn't show up. I hope that they're okay. So they're
yeah,
all at the cafe minus Mark. Mark is not among them. So they're, like, oh my God, where is Mark? So he then meets somebody at the cafe and is like, oh, the news bought my story. But right. And so they're all now getting ready to go to the cafe, sit down, get some food, get some drinks. And the maitre d' is like, nah, we're not doing this today. You guys come in here all the time. You sit here, you order a tea. And Mark's like, well, or you sit here and you don't order anything. And Mark's like, well, just last week I ordered a tea. He's like, well, you couldn't pay. He's like, oh yeah, you got me there. So then Angel flashes this huge wad of cash and is basically like, tonight we can. So then the maitre d' is like, all right, fine, whatever, but don't push any tables together. To which everyone immediately is like, hey, let's push these tables together. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like that's such a 20-year-old thing to do. Then, lo and behold, who's there? Benny and his
And the Jets.
Benny, Benny and the Jets. Sorry, I've been trying not to sing at all while we've been doing this. I have to have something. I know it's not related to the musical. I
Yeah, I
gotta I
sang it
gotta
up.
get it out. I've been bursting at the seams.
Which and I will say, not not to continue being a Benny apologist, that was really dumb of him. Why would you go to the restaurant your bum friends?
Friends, wow. I
You're
didn't realize I
unemployed,
married the man.
unwashed.
Not
You're
Becky Lynch.
unemployed. No, Becky Lynch is the man. You just called me Becky Lynch. You're Seth Rollins.
No, anyway.
You gotta cackle at people. That's a
Welcome to
wrestling
our new
reference.
podcast where we no, I'm just kidding.
Completely legitimate wrestling podcast coming soon. Yeah, Benny brought his rich father-in-law, all these rich hoity-toity types, to the seediest bum hangout.
You know for a fact, since he lived with them and was friends with them, this is the cafe.
Yeah,
Like,
they probably got
they
good
go
food.
but he knew they would be there more than likely.
Yeah, it was dumb. Yeah, you're right though. Benny would definitely know that they would be there.
Right. And like, so the friends ask Benny why his wife isn't there, and he says it's because there was a death in the family. So Mark and Roger are like, Akita? Avita. So it's the same dog that Angel was singing about killing earlier.
Yeah.
So Benny is like, you make fun, but I'm the one attempting to do some good. And he tells them Bohemia is dead. So then Mark proceeds to go to the head of the table and um
Conducts a
a
eulogy.
eulogy for the death of Bohemia. And if anyone was to ask why I was the way that I was from like the age of 13 to 17, it was this song. Like if there was like anything that radicalized me, it was this movie. I feel like this is just everything a young person probably stands for or like aspires to. I don't know. Going against the grain, hating convention, hating pretension, and then it says not to mention of course hating dear old mom and dad. To being an us for once instead of a them. Just I love this song so much. So everyone is singing that and then
Yeah, so about halfway through the song, Roger and Mimi kind of sneak off, and Mimi's like, "Hey, you invited me to this, and you're not really talking to me.
right.
Did I do something wrong?"
Yeah. So then Roger's beeper goes off and Mimi says AZT break. So this is kind of that acknowledgement that they both have AIDS and Roger's like, "Hey, can we step out to talk to each other?"
His walls come crumbling down. That barrier but that he felt kept him apart from her is no more because they have the same condition.
So, yeah, he says, or sorry, so she says, I should tell I blew the candle out just to get back in. And he says, I should tell you I forgot how to feel until your candle burned my skin. So it's just this beautiful song about essentially just giving each other a chance, trusting each other, trusting the newness of this relationship while living with AIDS. And I don't know, I love this song so much.
He stops fumbling Rosario Dawson.
Sure.
Third time's a charm. They go back in the restaurant and we resume La Vie Boheme to my dismay.
La Vie Boheme.
Yeah, La Vie Boheme.
Okay.
Am I saying it wrong?
Okay. So they go through the second half of the song. It ends with this sort of slow, I guess,
Pan across the
and
table.
yeah, of everyone.
Everyone has someone to kiss except Mark.
Yeah, Mark is just by himself, but I don't know, it's just
He's dancing, he's fist
yeah,
pumping, he's having a good time, I
he's
guess.
doing that
He's fine.
yeah. So next scene, it's New Year's. We see that Mark got a job offer from Buzzline, but he doesn't want to take it because he says that that would be selling out.
You know what? I'll discuss my problems with that later.
Why would you not discuss it now?
Well, because they talk about it more
Oh,
later.
okay.
It's I'll talk now. He acts like working for Buzzline and is selling out. He's selling his soul, and he can't make his art. And it's like, bitch, that's just like, and I hate capitalism. But
Do
like,
you?
I do. I hate I hate the capitalist hellscape that we've created,
Mhm.
but I have to live in it, you know? I and maybe it's because we have kids and I have responsibilities. I don't like it, but like yes, I have to work
But
so
if
that I
you
can
were
buy
in your
food
20s,
and buy video games and buy and exist. And it sucks, but it's like you can't work your 9 to 5 and also exist outside of it. You can't try and film things when you're not
I think it's the
working.
fact that it's specifically Buzzline. It's not necessarily that it's work, it's that it's working for Buzzline, which makes him feel like he would be a hypocrite. He would be selling out just to make money. So they get to their flat, they're locked out. Angel uses a trash can to break in, and they find that all of their furniture has been emptied. Joanne, the lawyer, tells them that they're technically squatters, and then Mark basically decides to meet with Buzzline now because he's out of options.
Yes.
But as you come to learn, the head of Buzzline is Sarah Silverman. So Mark was right to feel uneasy.
It's not Sarah Silverman, actually. It's someone played by Sarah
I'm
Silverman, and I know we
sorry.
don't like Sarah Silverman.
You know I don't.
I know you
I
don't.
I have actually only ever liked her in the Larry Sanders Show, and I don't know. I just it's probably gonna sound so silly, but when I was in high school, she made this really awful joke about Britney Spears and her kids, and I don't know what it was. I never found her funny again. And I saw this movie and her being in it, and I had watched it before this joke, and I was just like, okay, whatever, Sarah Silverman. But then I watched it again after that, and I'm just like, no, I do not like you. So
Well,
yeah, but Buzzline's basically like it would be like him taking a job at TMZ. He doesn't that I guess the struggle I see because he wants to make serious pieces. He wants to talk about the things that matter. He does not want to be part of a sensationalized like source.
I guess, but
But he's there because he recognizes that he needs money. But I'm saying his apprehension with it is understandable.
I guess.
You're telling me that 22-year-old Nick just he wanted to work in this field his entire life. Like that was what you dreamed of doing.
I mean, I fell into a career I didn't plan on.
Right. But
No, but
you do it because you
I'm
need the money, which is what he's
yes,
doing. He doesn't want to. You shouldn't be mad at him for not wanting to.
I understand that, but immediately Roger starts treating him like he's a sellout piece of shit.
Does not?
He does in the deleted scene
Okay.
that you showed me.
Oh,
Like he gets offered 3,000 commission a story, and I don't know if that's good or not. It sounds good for 1990. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. And that's introductory. It can go up. They make it clear.
yeah.
And it's just like, poor baby, you have to yes, like everyone it's hard to feel bad for him. I guess that's what I'm
Are
trying
you
to say is
just becoming an old man?
no, maybe. But I wish we could topple the oppressive regime too. But it's hard to feel bad for him when "Oh, I have to get a job." Everyone has to get a job.
You sound.
You do.
All
Like
right, all
you
right.
like there's nothing it's his struggle is that he has to get a job and it's like
No, it's
everyone
he
has
has
to
to get
do
a
that.
job with Buzzline.
He
Anyway, so Maureen is with Joanne and Mark because he brought Joanne because she's a lawyer and she would know how to negotiate a contract for him.
yeah.
Maureen came because it was her protest and she wanted to be a part of it. So she flirts with the receptionist.
Yeah, Joanne actually doesn't actually do anything because Maureen's too busy flirting with the
Yeah,
receptionist.
Joanne's a little distracted, but she asks some questions and stuff.
Yeah, all right.
But, so they get out there, Joanne congratulates him, and Maureen basically throws a little temper tantrum because they didn't mention her at all.
Yeah, it wasn't about her. Like I said,
And
Maureen's terrible.
she's like Joanne makes a comment about her flirting with the receptionist, and Maureen's like, "Oh my god, what do you want from me?" And Joanne's like, "Commitment." And Maureen's like, "Is that it?"
Maureen essentially proposes in front of Mark, and Mark is seen in every shot looking increasingly uncomfortable
Ye
to watch his ex-girlfriend propose to the lesbian that she left him for.
Yeah, he's like, "Great, this is my life. I just sold my soul for Buzzline, and now I get to watch my ex-girlfriend get
Yeah, and it's
get committed."
I feel more bad
Committed,
for
maybe not
him.
the right word, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel more bad for Mark for that
Mhm.
than I'm sorry you had to get a job to survive. We all do.
Alright.
I'm just saying he gets more sympathy from his girl leaving him and
Mhm.
getting engaged to someone else because like that's more of a gut punch.
So, they're gonna have a commitment ceremony because obviously they couldn't get married. It was illegal.
I thought the sign still called it an engagement party.
It probably did, but it was going for a commitment ceremony. Anyway, so this takes us to one of my favorite scenes and Nick's least favorite scene.
Yep. You describe it and I will tell my story about why this song sucks.
So Maureen's clearly losing it and having a anxiety attack about commitment. Joanne's parents use words like life partner, and you see Maureen kind of like mouth it quietly. She downs the alcohol and she starts flirting with the staff. And Joanne kind of looks at her like, "Are you fucking kidding me? You're doing this in front of our friends and family at our engagement party?"
Justifiably so.
And, she starts talking about how when they were at the club, Maureen was flirting with the woman in rubber, and Maureen says, "There will always be women in rubber flirting with me."
Do you like how she redirects that too? It's like women are always gonna flirt with me, but you don't have to flirt back, you hoe.
Right? People can be attracted to you. You don't have to engage if that makes your partner uncomfortable. If that boundary has been established, you can't step over the boundary. You have to respect it. So she, is like basically telling Joanne, "Isn't that why you like me? I'm your baby." And we see Mimi kind of smack Roger as Maureen is singing this at Joanne, like, "Oh my god, are you seeing this?" And Maureen, continues with, "No way can I be what I'm not." And then it cuts to a Joanne scene, which again, Tracy Toms kills it. But she says, "I look before I leap. I love margin and discipline." And then she says, "I hate mess, but I love you." And she then proceeds to say, "Like me for what I am, who I was meant to be." And as she's singing this, Maureen is calling her a control freak and a snob and an anal retentive. And so then it's this line that I love, which is, "Women, what is it about them? Can't live with them or without them." And again, they're doing this in front of their friends and family.
Very messy.
Yes, very messy. Everyone's watching them, everyone's following them through this banquet hall, and it ends with Maureen's parents looking at Mark and saying, "Maybe now you two can get back together."
And Mark kind of shakes his head like, "Oh no."
And Angel's like, "Yeah, we're leaving. Goodbye."
Yeah. So let me tell all of you at home or in the car or
Wherever you're
wherever you
listening.
are listening, why I hate the song "Take Me or Leave Me." During the pandemic, we went to the wedding for your sister Tori.
Yes.
Yeah, a lovely ceremony. If they're listening, there was nothing wrong with the wedding or the
Yeah,
ceremony.
this isn't about that. We had a great time. Thank you for inviting us.
Yes, we were driving back to our hotel from the ceremony because it was on the other side of the state, long drive. So we, got a hotel for the night. This is a dark back road, windy, not lit, and I am white knuckling the steering wheel because I'm scared. I know that we're by a river. It's if I, if I go off the road, we're fucked.
Yeah, there's probably deer.
Yeah, there's deer. It's bad. I don't know where I am. I'm lost. It's 11 o'clock at night.
We're passing anti-Whitmer sign.
We're we're deep in fucking Trump country, unfortunately. So we're very uncomfortable. And you,
Me?
darling, yes, you, love of my life, who had a little to
I
drink.
had I had 2 White Claws.
You weren't even drunk. You don't have an excuse. You don't have an excuse. As I am visibly nervous, as I have told you how nervous I am about this, you are listening to Take Me or Leave Me.
Yep.
You turned it up, and I tried to turn it down because I needed to focus. You turned it back up. You sang this so loudly at my face. You were like leaning over as I'm trying to look for where's the turnoff on this winding, dark road.
Mhm.
You're belting right at me, directly into my face,
Into your face.
as loud as you can. And I cannot hear this song without a PTSD flashback to that night and feeling like I am about to drive off the road. It was awful.
Yeah.
Is emotional distress,
Mm.
and I don't think I will ever forgive this movie.
And that is probably the worst example of it, and I apologized after. You were like, "I was so terrified, and you were just having the time of your life." Because I didn't realize that you were on the verge of a nervous breakdown. I'm just
I tried to tell
but I
you,
was too
and
busy
you sang
singing.
over me. You sang over me as I tried to communicate with you. What's one of the most important things in it for a relation? Because Maureen and Joanne could use it.
Communication.
Vacation.
But to be fair, this was a catch-22 because what have I also said? When I'm singing in the car, I don't hear shit. But anyway, I'm not here to make excuses. I have apologized for this. Unfortunately, that's probably the worst moment that it's happened. It has not been the only moment that this has happened where you have been trying to focus on the road and I have just been having karaoke in the passenger seat.
No, this was the worst instance for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway.
they break up. Good for Joanne because Maureen's a hoe. She's awful.
Okay.
They go back to Mark and Roger's apartment where Benny has returned their things. He says because Mimi talked to him and convinced him to put it back. Benny offers a new lease, which is essentially just a photo opportunity. But Mark pays him instead because now he has a big boy job and he can afford his rent.
Well, yeah, and he's also, I think, too, we've been doing this song and dance too long, my guy. Here's your fucking rent. I don't want to hear shit about this in 2 months where it's like, no, I never told you that. No, here's your rent. I don't need you to sit here and make promises to me again. Just take your fucking money.
So the insinuation is that Mimi did something with Benny just from the way he says it. He's not explicit, but it's implied. Mimi tries to tell Roger that, nothing happened, but he kind of storms off all upset. And even if nothing happened, I think he's upset that she did this behind his back.
Right. There was no conversation about I met with Benny.
Yeah. We get kind of a time skip song
Without you.
of the group where, a lot of people are fighting. Mimi has relapsed because she's upset.
Yeah, this song is emotional damage. Like this
Yeah.
it is very
A lot happens in this song.
yeah.
And we go from in the time span of the song, we go from Mark getting that job, which is just after the new year, to Halloween with everything that happens in this song. Why don't you tell us? Because I feel like you'll do it more justice than I.
So yeah, the song is basically that life moves on without you, but I don't have you, so what's the fucking point of any of it?
Yeah.
So yeah, Mimi, it shows her putting down the needle, she's getting clean, she's going through withdrawals. We see the life support group again.
Some of them
And
begin fading out.
yeah, and as they're going around like kind of in like circle, panning it, people are like peering from their seats as it goes on. So this is basically signifying that these people have died. They have died because they have AIDS, which was like very common. Obviously, they don't call it an epidemic for shits and giggles.
Right.
And then it gets to Angel's seat in life support, and we see Angel in Colin's arms on the subway, and clearly Angel is feverish.
Spasming.
Yeah. Roger goes to Mimi to kind of help her stay clean. We see Angel in the hospital. Mimi relapses, and who's there to comfort her? Not Roger. Of course, it's fucking Benny. Benny, who's married.
Yeah, Benny's married. This is definitely where it's like, well, I don't really have anyone to root for. Collins, Team Collins.
We don't see Angel's fever dream of friends having an orgy. They left that out. But we do see Angel again in the hospital. Angel makes a full recovery, and Angel and Collins live happily ever after, and the movie ends, roll credits.
No.
That's exactly what happened. Give us your rating. Angel Angel
Angel
dies.
perishes.
We see Collins holding Angel in his arms, and then we get to the most wrenching scene of the entire movie, which is Angel's funeral. So we have Mimi tells a story about Angel, how Angel told a skinhead, "I'm more of a man than you'll ever be. I'm more of a woman than you'll ever get." Jesse L. Martin sings a reprise of "I'll Cover You," and I'm sobbing.
It's very soulful.
I always cry at this part. I have seen this movie at least 25 times, at least. I still sob like it's the first time. The cast joins in, and I have been awful about updating our playlist that is supposed to coincide with this podcast. I am definitely going to update it, so I will add the songs for the last 3 episodes because I haven't added
Oh,
any of them.
wonderful.
Yeah, but I will also be adding this one as well as some of the other songs because when people talk about hating the film adaptation, this is the scene I always go to. Rent, they could never make me hate you. Like, I love this movie. So after we fucking cry our eyes out uncontrollably and like snot sob, we cut to the cemetery and all of the friends start arguing.
Yeah. Mimi talks to Roger about how he sold his guitar to buy a car to leave for Santa Fe,
Yeah, he's gonna do it.
which that was either a very cheap car or a very expensive guitar, or both.
I was gonna say, it was like the 90s, you never.
Roger accuses her of getting with Benny. Maureen and Joanne start fighting, and through Mimi and Roger, projecting their problems onto them.
Happens sometimes. Have you ever noticed that certain groups of dynamics, when one couple is having problems, it
The other couple like
sponges onto
splits and
yeah,
takes sides. Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. Mark is trying really hard to get everyone to stop.
right, because, like, "Hey, guys, I don't know if you noticed this, but we just had a funeral for our good friend Angel, and maybe this isn't the time or place."
Yeah, Roger starts laying into Mimi about her drug use and everything, and Collins interrupts like, "Look, you guys all said you'd be cool today. I hate that Angel's gone, and I hate that our family, because he refers to all of them collectively as his family, is dying.
Yeah.
Roger's leaving, and it's all falling apart, and everyone just says goodbye,
Yeah.
splits."
And growing up, I had a friend and we were watching this in her living room for whatever reason. I think this movie had such a hold on us. My brother and I were trying to force it on everybody. This is our personality now and it must be your personality too. And my friend's dad made fun of this scene and ripped it to shreds with saying how stupid it was. And I just remember because my brother and I lived, I think, like a 5-minute walk from her house to ours. We just spent the entire walk ranting about what an asshole he was because it was like, "How dare you? How dare you?" Kind of like I get with you when you're just, "I didn't really like this movie," and I'm like, "You didn't get it." Like,
Right, I
yeah,
don't get this
just
movie.
imagine that, but I'm a teenager. So, yeah,
Anyway,
anyway, their friends sing goodbye. Maureen and Joanne, it shows them reconciling, which is nice. They kind of, I think,
eh,
realize, like, "It wasn't all that much. I still love
mm,
you. I think we
uh,
can make it work." Okay,
Joanne
it's not
deserves
your
better.
relationship.
Joanne deserves better.
Anyway,
I'm just saying Joanne deserves better. Mark and Roger have a duet apart about how they sold out, kind of.
no, I kind of thought that it was about not necessarily selling out, just I don't know. I thought that the song would still be relatable. It says, "You're living in America, leave your conscience at the tone." I don't know, like that just
You are what you own.
yeah,
Yeah, it's relevant today.
yeah,
Roger's parts kind of sing about how he feels like he's let Mimi down because he can't stop thinking about her. Mark's parts are more about how he feels like he's let Angel down
yeah,
because he was documenting the plight of the homeless and the people with AIDS struggling in New York. And now he's doing his fluff job for
right.
Buzzline, which again, you can't have a passion project outside of work. I don't know. He quits via song. He quits
And
during
then
the
he
song. He
sings
doesn't.
at his boss. I
No,
don't.
he's on top of the roof and he just says, "I quit," and you just assume, okay, he quit his job. We don't know if he goes and quits in person or if he just starts no showing. We're just left to assume he quit. He'd rather,
Yeah. So then we see Roger selling his car to buy a guitar. So bought a car with his guitar, sold his car for a
got
guitar.
a guitar.
Now he's on the bus. We assume he's coming back to New York. So then we get the lyrics, "We're dying in America to come into our own." And then we get, "When you're dying in America, you're not alone." And we see Roger and Mark reconnect. And I don't know, I really like that lyric of, "When you're dying in America, you're not alone." I feel like that still rings true today with,
Well, yeah, we're all stronger together.
yeah, I really like that lyric.
The tool of an oppressive government is to isolate.
Right.
A populace is the most powerful together. And just for a friend group, for them to reconnect in the span of one song, Roger ran away to Santa Fe and then just came back. He was gone for all of 5
Yeah,
minutes, I
Ryman
think.
over there.
He was gone for all of like 5 minutes
He was gone for,
runtime.
yeah, but in reality, it was a few weeks.
Yeah,
So Benny calls and says that he hasn't seen Mimi in a few weeks.
she left rehab.
Yeah, she was in rehab, she left rehab. Everyone's looking for her.
Yep.
So
Flyers are up. They're all leaving each other voicemails.
then
We get Christmas Eve 1990.
yes, so it's been a year and Collins is now back in town. Mark throws down the keys and says, "Hey, don't get your ass kicked this time." He catches the keys now, so we assume that that means that he's actually going to be upstairs and not, in an alley.
And he does.
Yes.
He comes upstairs.
Yes, and then he says, that he's made some money because he was rewiring an ATM, and he made the PIN ANGEL, and then we hear Joanne or no, Maureen scream down that they found Mimi, and they basically need help carrying her up the stairs.
She is cold and dying.
Yes, they found her living on the street.
Yeah.
She has not been taking her AZT, she's been using again, so she is very close to death's door. They get her on the table because the couch is full of all of Roger's shit. I guess we don't use the floor, we use the couch. My guitar is my family. Anyway,
Oh, clear off the couch. There's no time. And they proceed to pull out a table
the table was
and
there.
but they pull out a table, they cover the
No, they
table.
don't pull out a table, honey. The table was there.
They lay a blanket down on the table.
That's not pulling out a whole ass table.
I feel like you could have cleared off the couch. I feel like in the time it took to cover the table, you could have cleared off the
But you
couch.
gotta, lift boxes and shit, or you just gotta sweep off some, Chinese takeout.
They lay Mimi down on this table. They put a coat over her.
Yeah,
Someone calls 911.
yes. And then Mimi tells Roger that she loves him, and Roger says, "Who do you think you are, leaving me here with my guitar?" And, that's a callback to what he said to her with, "Who do you think you are, barging in on me and my guitar?" But he sings the song that he's been working on about Mimi and looking into her eyes. And then he finishes the song, and you can see Mimi has died. She comes back to life, and she says that she was basically heading towards that bright light, and Angel was there and told her,
Nah.
yeah, basically told her it wasn't her time. Go back and listen to that boy's song. So her fever is breaking, and I don't want to say she's fine now because you can clearly tell she looks still very sick. She will probably die.
We listened to the director
Yes,
commentary, and he's
yes.
like, she's probably got like a week.
Right. Maybe not a week, but she does not look well. But she is well enough that she's not gonna go.
Maybe they can get her back on her AZ.
Right. Right. But so they sing a mashup of No Day But Today and Without You as Mark rolls the tape for his original movie that he's been working on, which is titled Today for You. And yes, I made Nick watch all the deleted scenes and musical performances because, I was really trying to get him to like this.
Are they canon?
The deleted scenes?
Yeah, are they canon?
So a few of them are. I think one of them was to try and give us more story, but it just didn't fit because they had already kind of explained it in an earlier part.
Okay.
The songs are So those are meant to be, and there's Rent has so many songs. So many songs.
Okay.
But yeah, I was trying to get you to like this and hoping if you saw these that it would boost your rating because I already knew going into this that you probably weren't going to rate it very high. You have never made any qualms about not liking this movie.
I don't.
So yeah, but if you do watch the deleted scenes, you will see Mimi singing "Goodbye Love," which is the one song I wish they hadn't cut, but I'm glad that it's still in the deleted scenes and that we still have it, but this is part of that argument of don't depend on streaming for everything. You will miss the important shit sometimes, and this is one of those moments. Netflix is not gonna show you "Goodbye Love," and sure, you could find it on YouTube or TikTok, I'm sure, but find the DVD.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, the deleted scenes, from what I gather from them, they, for as much as you give me shit for being a Benny apologist, they actually humanize Benny further. He pays for Angel's funeral,
yes,
and Collins is very appreciative of it. And they tell Benny, like, you just paid for the funeral of the person who killed your dog. And Benny's like, I never liked the dog.
right.
Which, takes some of the blow out of it, I guess. We get also when Roger first comes back from Santa Fe, meets with Benny at the restaurant, and Benny's like, nothing ever happened between us. She loves you, and she's gone missing. So they replaced that scene with Benny's voicemail. We also get a few scenes that kind of would have given Mark more characterization.
Yeah,
Cause we get a Mark at Angel's grave singing about being alone and without his movie and all the things he's witnessed. Who is he? We get a scene with the Goodbye Love that Mimi sings with Roger packing for Santa Fe. They argue with each other about what he's doing, and Mark's trying to be like, "You're running from your problems." And Roger's like, "You're hiding in your work because you're lonely.
yeah.
You're living a lie." It's a few things about like giving Mark this that he's alone, but they cut all that.
Yeah, I've
Mark,
I've
Mark doesn't really get a subplot other than
right.
making his movie.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Am I missing anything with the deleted scenes? They had an alternate ending, but I liked the original ending better. I thought it was more fitting.
Yeah, so the alternate ending, and I could be misremembering, but I wanna say the alternate ending was, like, the actual ending. That was how it actually ends in the stage production, and I could be misremembering. But yeah, I really liked that, but I do think for the film adaptation, ending it with, like, Mark's movie and Angel just giving that smile at the end, I do think that is the better ending.
Okay, well that is Rent, and I mean I still have questions about how can Mimi tell if a baby is Spanish? Don't let's
Oh
cry.
my god.
Well, I guess give us your final thoughts and rating.
No, you give your final thoughts and ratings. I don't want you changing it up when you hear my review and being like, yes, I thought it was quite distinguished."
Sure. So musicals aren't my favorite, and
He says after saying his favorite movie is Pootie Tang, and he also loves
Pootie
Blues
Tang's
Brothers.
not a musical.
Okay, it was
Pootie
in the
Tang is
musical
not a musical.
category. Okay.
Mm. And Blues Brothers is different. Blues Brothers is there is a Blues Brothers attraction at Universal. There's no Rent attraction at Universal.
It's not a Universal movie.
Well, okay, so at the heart, we have a movie about some unemployed and unwashed artists who refuse to sell out, and everyone kind of has a holier than thou attitude. They kill some dogs, they drink some Stoli. This movie is not awful.
Mm.
There are good things to this movie. Collins is cool. Collins never does anything wrong. I will always be Team Collins. There's Santa Fe's a good song. So, in conclusion, originally it was 2.5 stars,
Mhm.
and with the deleted scenes, I will give it 2.75 stars.
Okay, okay. I'm gonna hit you with what I hit you with before, which is you don't like it because you don't get it. You
Get it?
don't get it. But I will say, in fairness, you are not the only person that does not like this movie. But I still argue you just don't get it.
Just don't.
I gave this movie a 4 out of 5.
I thought it'd be higher.
I think in terms of what the vision for the movie was, mixed with the cast performance and how essential this was to so much of my personality, especially as a teenager, that I couldn't give it anything less, but there are certainly, like, criticisms that I have for it, but they don't necessarily if I'm giving a movie a 5 out of 5, that's there has to be pretty much a perfect fucking movie, and I love this movie, but I will say that because of when Jonathan Larson, like, died and just it being a film adaptation and it obviously follows as closely as it can, but it changes things, that, like, a 4 out of 5, I feel like is a good rating. This is actually one of the movies that made me interested in film. This is one of the movies that was part of the reason that I, like, originally studied film. I used to watch the commentary at least once a month, at least. I loved this commentary.
Lot.
Yeah, I loved hearing them talk about the movie. Like, I loved it, and I think as a whole, it made me care about things that I might not have cared about otherwise. Like the AIDS epidemic, I like closely studied that when I went to college. That was a big part of like what I was pursuing for community health. And how many teenagers in 2005 did you know that like, cared about social justice issues and the AIDS epidemic? I think it was only me because anytime I started talking about it, people would just stare at me like, I don't know what that is. Or like they would make a homophobic comment. So I give this a 4 out of 5. I love this fucking movie. I love the songs, but I don't necessarily think it's
Okay. Well,
what?
that's Rent.
You're not even proud of me for not singing the entire time? Do you know how hard that was?
I am.
Well, fucking
Good.
clap for me, damn it.
I'm all right. Well, this is going to be our longest episode. Join us next time when we review Perks of Being a Wallflower, one of those movies that you can't believe I've never seen.
Yeah, and, like, I'm gonna try to watch this myself through a lens of not focusing on who Ezra Miller is as a person right now, and, like, the Ezra Miller that we were rooting for. I may try and
Simpler
s
time.
yeah, I may try and stay away from that because I just think, yeah, I don't want it to sway my opinion on the movie. I'm gonna try and keep that separate.
All right. Well, join us all next time.
Yep, all
Bye.
2 of us.
Yup. Bye.